The town of Farmington. Respecting history, planning the future.
It's 7 o'clock. We will now call our June 8th, 2021 Town Council meeting to order. And if I could ask the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we have one of our members with us on Zoom, Gary Palumbo. Also, for any of you who are standing, you have 6 seats in the front here. You're more than welcome to sit in. Don't be shy. Okay, we are going to start with presentations and recognitions this evening. And our first presentation is the Stephen A. Fliss Scholarship recipient. Angela and Chris will be handling that. Let me follow you up. Oop.
Thank you, CJ. This is a resolution of commendation, whereas the Stephen A. Fliss Scholarship was established in 1985 and dedicated to Stephen A. Fliss, who served as town manager of the town of Farmington from 1955 to 1985. And whereas the scholarship was established for Farmington residents seeking a college degree in public administration and/or public service. And whereas Angela Sadlowski of Farmington submitted her application to the Stephen A. Fliss Scholarship Committee, and whereas the Stephen A. Fliss Scholarship Committee unanimously chose Angela Sadlowski's application and has approved a scholarship award of $500. And whereas Angela Sadlowski volunteered for various organizations, including Bristol Hospital, Educated Canines Assisting Disabilities, and nursing homes and senior centers across Connecticut. And whereas Angela Sadlowski raised thousands of dollars for veterans through funding the Veterans Club at Farmington High School. And whereas Angela Sadlowski will be attending Johns Hopkins University, where she will study biomedical engineering with the goal of pursuing medical school after completing her bachelor's degree and continuing to serve the public through becoming a military doctor. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Farmington Town Council commends Angela Sadlowski on her scholarship award and hereby encourages her continued success with future studies. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 8th day of June, 2021, C.J. Thomas, Farmington Town Council Chair.
Did you have a state one for that also?
Pardon me?
Did you have one of the state ones for Angela or no? No. Was there one from Mike D'Amico also?
No.
No, not for
No, okay.
Okay, and you want to?
Yes, sorry. Next proclamation is Girl Scout Gold Award for Olivia Roberts.
Okay. And it's proclamation, whereas the Girl Scouts of America help train the youth of our community with skills which serve them well in the future, and whereas many of our youth participate in activities of the Girl Scouts of America which benefit our community, and whereas one of the crowning achievements of Girl Scouting is the attainment of the Girl Scout Gold Award, and whereas Olivia Roberts from the Girl Scouts of Connecticut Council recently completed the requirements for the 2021 Girl Scout Gold Award, and whereas Olivia Roberts' Movements in Faith project worked to create an inclusive music and faith-based program for individuals and groups with special needs and their families. Her project was not founded in a certain religion. Participants only needed a positive attitude with an open mind. And whereas Olivia raised money to purchase a variety of instruments for people that struggle with loud sounds and can play and hear, and organize games and purchase the items needed for them, working for months to put everything together. And whereas Olivia Roberts is a Girl Scout who volunteers with Special Olympics, is an elementary school tutor, is part of the St. James Parish Youth Group, the Dominican Development Group missions to the Dominican Republic, and an avid reader. And whereas, as a result of Olivia Roberts' work, this program gives an opportunity for people with special needs to meet new friends and worship in a comfortable, safe environment. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of the Farmington Town Council, I hereby extend to Girl Scout 2021 Gold Award recipient Olivia Roberts our best wishes, and we hereby proclaim June 9th, 2021 as Olivia Roberts Day in Farmington. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 8th day of June, 2021. Congratulations, Olivia. Just hold on. And then we also have a separate proclamation for the state of Connecticut. From the State of Connecticut General Assembly, official citation introduced by Representative Mike D'Amico, Representative Tammy Exum, Senator Derek Slapp, and Senator Rick Lopez. Be it hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Olivia Roberts in recognition of your attainment of the Gold Award, the highest achievement in Girl Scouting. We commend you for your extraordinary accomplishment, your leadership and perseverance, and the good work you have done for your community. The entire membership extends its best wishes to you on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Given this 8th day of June, 2021 at the state capitol, Hartford, Connecticut.
Our next proclamation is Girl Scout Gold Award proclamation for Rose Rayburn.
We go from nobody to a full house today. All right, let's see if I can get this off without screwing it up. But as anybody's know, I have been a dear friend to this family for a long time. I've been lucky enough to share 51 birthdays with her mother. So this might choke me up here. Who knows? Let's see. All right. Whereas the Girl Scouts of America help train the youth of our community with skills which serve them well in the future. And whereas many of our youth participate in activities of the Girl Scouts of America which benefit our community. And whereas one of the crowning achievements of Girl Scouting is the attainment of the Girl Scout Gold Award. And whereas Rose Rayburn from the Girl Scouts of Connecticut Council recently completed the requirements for the 2021 Girl Scout Gold Award. And whereas Rose Rayburn's Rescues Need You, a project work to educate the citizens of Farmington and Farmington students about animal rescues, in particular highlighting the myths versus facts of animal rescues. And whereas Rose Rayburn's project has raised awareness of the importance of adopting a rescue animal rather than purchasing an animal through a breeder. And whereas amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, Rose Rayburn held a number of virtual calls with schools in the area to educate children and adults about animal rescues. And she has written educational articles that have been published in local newspapers. And whereas in addition to her work helping rescue animals, Rose Rayburn volunteers at the food pantry, works as a camp counselor, is on the event leadership team of Farmington Valley Relay for Life, coaches an under-6 soccer team, patience, participates in soccer, track, and field. And whereas a result of Rose Rayburn's work, that the lives of the people and animals of Farmington will be enriched and enhanced. Now, therefore, be it resolved, and that on behalf of the Farmington Town Council, I hereby extend to Girl Scout 2021 Gold Award recipient Rose Rayburn our best wishes and hereby proclaim June 10th as Rose Rayburn Day in Farmington. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 8th day of June, 2021, C.J. Thomas, Town Council Chair. And a nice honor from the state of Connecticut, General Assembly official citation, introduced by Representatives Mike D'Amico, Tammy Exum, Derek Slapp, and Senator Rick Lopes. Be here known that all the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Rose Rayburn in recognition to oh boy, her attainment of the Gold Award, the highest achievement in Girl Scouting. We commend you for your extraordinary accomplishments, your leadership and presence, or perseverance, and the good work that you have done for our community. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope and continued success. Given this 8th day of June, 2021, State Capitol, Hartford, Connecticut.
Our next proclamation is our third Girl Scout Gold Award proclamation for Sydney Mangum.
Hi, Sydney. Nice to meet you. We're neighbors. So one thing before I read this proclamation, I did a little bit of homework about the Gold Award. And I want to read this. I took it off the Girl Scouts website. And I thought this was fitting for all the projects you guys have done today. The Gold Award Girl Scouts are the dreamers and the doers who take and make the world a better place to the next level. The Girl Scout Gold Award is the mark of a truly remarkable proof that not only can she make a difference, but she already has made a difference. So to all you Gold Award recipients tonight, thank you. You're doing some beautiful things, wonderful things for our community. Thanks. So I'll ask you a question after this. All right, here's your proclamation. Whereas the Girl Scouts of America help train the youth of our community with skills which serve them well in the future, and whereas many of our youth participate in activities of the Girl Scouts of America which benefit our community, and whereas one of the crowning achievements of Girl Scouting is the attainment of the Girl Scout Gold Award. Whereas Sydney Mangum from the Girl Scouts of Connecticut Council recently completed the requirements for the 2021 Girl Scout Gold Award. And whereas Sydney Mangum's Screen Time and Vision Health project worked to understand the cause of children being prescribed glasses at younger ages and how technology is contributing to this issue. And whereas Cindy Mangum worked with her optometrist to create a presentation and a pamphlet for teachers and nurses that detailed the effects that large amounts of screen time can cause and included tips on how to minimize these effects. And whereas in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Cindy gave her presentation to teachers at elementary schools and through virtual calls to nurses at three different school districts. That's remarkable. Whereas in addition to her work with the Girl Scouts, Cindy volunteers at the Farmington Food Pantry, is part of the Relay for Life executive leadership team, is a member of the Premier Soccer Club, plays violin, and enjoys CrossFit. You're busy. Whereas as a result of Cindy's work, the eyesight of children of Farmington will be cared for. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of the Farmington Town Council, I hereby extend to the Girl Scout 2020 Gold Award recipient, Sydney Mangum, our best wishes, and we hereby proclaim June 11th, 2021 as Sydney Mangum Day in Farmington, dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 8th day of June, 2021. All right, one more. This is from the state. This is from the state of Connecticut, General Assembly, official citation introduced by Representative Mike D'Amico, 21st District, Representative Tammy Exum, 19th District, Senator Derek Slapp, 5th District, Senator Rick Lopes of the 6th District. Be it hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincere congratulations to Sydney Mangum in recognition of attainment of the Gold Award, the highest achievement in Girl Scouting. We commend you for your extraordinary accomplishments, your leadership, and perseverance. The good work done on your part for the community. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses hope for continued success. Given on the 8th day of June 2021 at the state capitol, Hartford, Connecticut, Martin M. Looney, President Pro Tem, and Matt Ritter, Speaker of the House, and Secretary of the State, Denise Merrill. Very good. So all these wonderful things you can hang up at your house. So I wish you have a real interest in science, it sounds like, right? So I hope someday that you become a world famous eye surgeon, because I think you're going to do wonderful things. Thanks. Congratulations.
Our next proclamation is our first Eagle Scout proclamation for Jack Douglas.
Congratulations. Jack, I'm sure you've done much more than what I read here, judging by all those badges I see on your chest. And from what I heard from all the Eagle Scouts I know, you've done a lot. Congratulations. Thank you. I have a proclamation for you from the town of Farmington. Whereas the Scouts BSA helps train the youth of our community with skills which serve them well in their future. And whereas many of our youth participate in activities of the Scouts BSA which benefits our community. And whereas one of the crowning achievements of scouting is the attainment of the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Jack Douglas's project involved restoring and rerouting the trail behind West District Elementary School and refurbishing the trailhead sign. Whereas Jack Douglas worked for many hours restoring the trail, and his work will benefit the Kindergarten Forest School program and the people of Farmington. Whereas Jack Douglas has demonstrated leadership and academic success as part of Troop 170 Boy Scouts of America. And whereas Jack Douglas attends Farmington High School in Farmington and enjoys hiking, running, and outdoor learning. Whereas, as a result of Jack Douglas's work, the lives of the people of Farmington will be enriched and enhanced. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of the Farmington Town Council, we hereby extend Jack Douglas our best wishes. And we hereby proclaim June 12th, 2021 as Jack Douglas Day in Farmington, Connecticut. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 8th day of June 2021, C.J. Thomas, Town Chair. Congratulations. As if that wasn't enough. Someone else recognizes the extreme amount of work that you have given to your town and to your state. So we have a State of Connecticut General Assembly official citation introduced by Mike D'Amico of the 21st District, Representative Tammy Exum of the 19th District, Senator Derek Slapp of the 5th District, and Senator Rick Lopes of the 6th District. Be it hereby known to all, the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Jack Douglas in recognition of your celebration to the rank of Eagle Scout. the highest achievement in scouting. We commend you for your extraordinary accomplishment, your leadership and perseverance, and the good work you have done for your community. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and express the hope for continued success. Given this 8th day of June 2021 at the state capitol, Hartford, Connecticut, by the President Pro Tem and Speaker of the House and Secretary of the State. Congratulations. In case you're not always wearing that hat, there it is.
And our next presentation, wait, do we just do Thomas? You have Thomas, right?
You did Jack Thomas.
All right, Eagle Scout proclamation for Thomas Douglas.
Congratulations on your achievement, Thomas, and I'm sure you'll continue to do wonderful things for our community. I'll read the proclamation from the town of Farmington. Whereas the Scouts BSA helps train the youth of our community with skills which serve them well in the future, and whereas many of our young participate in activities of the Scouts BSA which benefit our community, and whereas one of the crowning achievements of scouting is the attainment of the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Thomas Douglas from Troop 170 Scouts BSA recently completed the requirements for Eagle Scout. And whereas Thomas Douglas's project involved designing and constructing a bird blind at West District Elementary School. Thomas researched designs and raised money for the construction materials to construct the bird blind. The bird blind is located at West District Elementary School for the enjoyment of students and the public walking on the path. And whereas Thomas Douglas has demonstrated leadership and academic success as part of Troop 170 Boy Scouts of America. And whereas Thomas Douglas attends Farmington High School in Farmington and enjoys hiking and backpacking the Appalachian Trail. And whereas, as a result of Thomas Douglas's work, the lives of the people of Farmington will be enriched and enhanced. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of the Farmington Town Council, we hereby extend Thomas Douglas our best wishes, and we hereby proclaim June 13th, 2021 as Thomas Douglas Day in Farmington, Connecticut. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 8th day of June 2021. C.J. Thomas, Farmington Town Council Chair. And we have an official citation as well from the Connecticut State General Assembly. I'll read that as well. Introduced by Representative Mike D'Amico, 21st District, Representative Tammy Exum, 19th District, Senator Derek Slapp, 5th District, Senator Rick Lopes, 6th District. Be it hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Thomas Douglas. In recognition of your celebration to the rank of Eagle Scout, the highest achievement in scouting, we commend you on your extraordinary accomplishment, your leadership and perseverance, and the good work you have done for your community. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorial occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Given this 8th day of June 2021 at the state capitol, Hartford, Connecticut, by Martin M. Looney, President Pro Tempore, Matt Ritter, Speaker of the House, and Denise Merrill, Secretary of State. Congratulations. course, we have a Town of Farmington hat for you as well.
And a mask, because it's COVID world.
Of course.
I'd just like to say before we go on to our next proclamation, that we've just seen 6 exceptional youth from Farmington that we are all incredibly proud of. And with all the things you have done, and we've listed so many of them, I'm sure there are many more things that we haven't heard about. We've got great hopes for you all in the future and great hopes for our town in the future. With that, we have our next proclamation, which is a Juneteenth proclamation. Joe?
Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in the Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas word about the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was delayed some 2.5 years to June 19th, 1865, in reaching authorities and African Americans in the South and Southwestern United States. And whereas January 31st, 1865, Congress passed the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution, abolishing slavery throughout the United States and its territories. And whereas spontaneous celebration erupted throughout the country when African Americans learned of their freedom. And whereas Juneteenth, or June 9th, 1865, is considered the date when the last slaves in America were freed, when General Gordon Granger rode into Galveston, Texas, and issued General Order No. 3, almost 2.5 years after President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. And whereas Juneteenth, also known as Juneteenth Independence Day, Emancipation Day, Emancipation Celebration, and Freedom Day, is the oldest African American holiday observance in the United States. And whereas today, Juneteenth commemorates African American freedom and emphasizes education and achievement, it's a day, a week, and in some areas, month, marked with celebrations, guest speakers, picnics, family gatherings, and it's time for reflection and rejoicing. It is a time for assessment, self-improvement, and planning for the future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Farmington Town Council encourages the people of Farmington to join the celebrating Juneteenth as a day to honor, reflect on the significant role the African Americans have played in the history of the United States. Signed, C.J. Thomas, Town Council Chair.
Actually, our last proclamation for the night, and I believe we have 2 of the high school students joining me tonight. This is for Farmington High School graduating class. So, thanks. Hollis and Liv are joining me up here. We did this last year for the graduating class. In a world that's turned upside down and has certainly affected the students significantly, much more than any of us. This is our first and hopefully only graduating class that had to live their entire senior year, plus, including part of last year, through unusual COVID circumstances. So we've got a proclamation recognizing all that they went through. It's a long one, so be patient. Extra whereases. Whereas the Farmington High School class of 2021 has proven its strength, resilience, and determination in the face of unprecedented obstacles, and whereas the FHS class of 2021 excelled in academic endeavors such as earning the State of Connecticut Seal of Biliteracy, National History Day awardees, overall excellence in math, English, social studies, science, language, and literacy, record circulation numbers in our school library, and whereas these dedicated lifetime learners will attend a variety of universities and colleges, including the most prestigious, as well as trade schools, military enlistments, and will enter the workforce. And whereas the FHS class of 2021 was outstanding in all areas of high school life, with 88 Connecticut Music All-Conference and 30 Connecticut All-State Musician Awards. There were over 150 members having engaged in athletics, 12 CCC Athletic Division titles, and 30 individual recognitions, 2 state athletic titles, and 10 individual all-state recognitions, with scientific art awards, including 2 gold keys, 1 silver key, and an honorable mention, following wellness ideals of good decision-making, high character, and positive attitude. And whereas the FHS class of 2021 showed community pride through fundraising over $15,000 in multiple events, volunteering countless hours of time to improve the town of Farmington and surrounding communities during a pandemic, volunteering with seniors and mentoring students in our inter-district program, bringing students together from different communities virtually and in person. And whereas the FHS class of 2021 led the way for other high school students and educators in Connecticut on how to incorporate social justice into their school and community while elevating the voice for the voiceless. Whereas the FHS class of 2021 has served as a model for civic-minded contributions by being recognized with 3 statewide Challenge to Education Citizenship Awards for Farmington Senior Citizens Musical Performance, the Farmington High School Peer Leadership Program, and the Farmington High School Social Justice Week. Whereas the FHS class of 2021 has proven its ingenuity through broadcasting the 9:05 news, live streaming athletics, virtual play productions, outdoor concerts, drive-in art shows, virtual world language, senior showcase, and holding a senior prom and picnic. And whereas we believe and we are all in this together as one school, one community, one us. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of the Farmington Town Council, we recognize the FHS class of 2021 for all these accomplishments and many more not mentioned, and we hereby declare June 16th, 2021 as Farmington High School Graduation Day. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 8th day of June, 2021. C.J. Thomas, Chair, Farmington Town Council. And that concludes our proclamations for the evening. We're now moving on to presentations. We have a presentation from our town planner, Catherine Kramer. And if we want to take a minute, anyone who has someplace else to go, you're free to go.
Some hats for the high school graduates.
Scott.
Scott, we're going to get some hats.
Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All your support for everything.
Thanks.
Thanks, Scott.
See ya.
Catherine, if you want to turn kind of so you're not so
Yes.
awkward.
Can I-
Yeah.
And here I thought they were all here to learn about the affordable housing.
I have a way of clearing out rooms when I enter, so. Catherine, welcome. Thank you for
Well,
joining us.
thank you. It's a pleasure to be here in front of you all. Finally, I've been with the town of Farmington now since January. So it's nice to start to embark on this new phase of my time here where I get to interact with the public in person as well as meet all of you face to face. So yeah, I will get started with the town of Farmington's affordable housing plan. And if you don't mind clicking forward. This plan is intended to satisfy the statutory requirements under Connecticut General Statute Section 830J. The affordable housing plan must be updated every 5 years per state statute. We received funding for this plan from the Connecticut Department of Housing. So we began this process when I joined the town of Farmington back in January, and we have been ongoing with various stages of this process and have since shared with all of you the draft affordable housing plan, which I'll now go through some of the key elements of this plan and how we arrived at what we have today. So Anna, if you don't mind clicking forward to the next one. The affordable housing plan outline includes a community vision statement. It includes an introduction and summary of affordable housing in Farmington. We conducted, with the assistance of our consultants, a housing need assessment, land use and zoning assessment, and an infrastructure assessment. All of these assessments came together with a fairly robust, for a COVID pandemic era, community engagement outreach process to derive us with 5 different objectives and about 20 different strategies for how to implement this affordable housing plan. Ultimately, this plan is a guiding document similar to the POCD that gets updated within the Planning and Zoning Department and provides a lot of different avenues for increasing our affordability as a community. So if you don't mind clicking next. Affordable housing in Farmington, there is a common myth around affordable housing that these developments are higher density, and this is not necessarily true. Affordable housing can be anywhere and look like any other type of housing. And in Farmington, we have a good variety of affordable housing, ranging from single-family homes to duplexes to townhomes and apartments. Some of our affordable housing is rental, whereas some is ownership. And it is important to have a diverse housing stock so that people going through different life phases can stay in town, whether you're wanting to age in place or move back after college, and having a variety of housing typologies provides a diverse opportunity for people to come and stay in Farmington, as well as people who work within the community having the opportunity to live here as well. So if you click to the next slide, we have an image of what affordable housing looks like around the state of Connecticut. As I mentioned, it can often look like single-family homes that are owned. It can be duplexes that are rented, accessory dwelling units, so an apartment in the back of a residential lot, so 2 families on one land, or a condo or apartment complex, as depicted by these images. And it can be within tone with the classic historic architecture that is very common in Farmington. So if you click next. So affordable housing in Farmington, the goal is to spend less than 30% of your household income on housing. So what we calculate and judge a lot of the metrics off of is a term called AMI, or area median income. For the town of Farmington, the AMI is $78,500 annually. And for an individual, it would be $54,950 annually. So if you are above that, you are above the threshold for qualifying for affordable housing. If you fall below that, you have opportunities to find affordable housing and qualify for different type of housing typologies. And I apologize, the graphic on the left, right, depending on where you're looking, is a little small, but it shows a breakdown of the different types of housing opportunities that we have in the town. We have approximately 875 affordable housing units already existing in the town, so that's about 7.8% within Farmington. And we're supposed to, under the state statute, be striving to reach 10%, which would mean adding an additional 235 housing units, or finding space within our existing housing stocks to provide avenues for those to become affordable. So if you click to the next slide, it kind of depicts some of these housing needs. And as we embarked upon the housing need assessment, we are breaking down our needs into 3 categories: low income, very low income, and extremely low income. And so on this graphic, you can see that we have approximately 3,000 low-income households within the community already here that are in need for opportunity for affordable housing opportunities, whether it be home ownership or rental. And so you can see on the incomes here, it's anywhere, it's incomes underneath the 78,500 annual threshold for a family of 4, or 54,950 for an individual. And so different housing developments within the community have different thresholds of where people are supposed to be falling, and helps to create an opportunity where all people are finding housing opportunities within the town. So if you click to the next, that kind of quick summary of some of the assessments that we did as far as the existing housing stock and demographics of Farmington to help us better understand what direction we need to take. We also embarked on a fair amount of community engagement for the time that we were in. We have launched a website. I hope you guys have had the opportunity to check it out. There have been various surveys on the website. We did an initial survey on community values and housing needs. Then we launched a community workshop where we shared the responses from the initial survey. And we also provide an opportunity for people to provide feedback on the objectives and strategies that we have been toying with and trying to get an understanding of what's going to work best in Farmington, because not all affordable housing options or strategies fit right for this community. So we wanted to make sure that the things that we're proposing work well within the fabric and the context of this community. And we're currently surveying feedback from town commissions on this draft plan. And so if you click next, I'll go through some of these strategies and then how we're continuing to engage people and take in feedback. So ultimately, we have a draft plan before us today with various objectives and strategies. The 5 key objectives are to continue affordable housing programs throughout Farmington and with the Farmington Housing Authority. So we had at one point in time an active housing committee, which had meetings and did various projects within the community. So one of our strategies would be to reactivate that committee and bring it back to life and engage them in some of these projects that we have listed in our affordable housing plan. Then we have for number 2, elevate ways to increase capacity to further affordable housing. And this includes strategies like training staff on our land use committees. Number 3, reduce the restriction on the town's accessory dwelling units regulations. So that would entail allowing ADUs within our zoning. Currently, our zoning does not allow for ADUs within the town of Farmington. Number 4 is explore inclusionary zoning approaches for multifamily developments. And one of the strategies for this is to do a development panel with various developers to try to understand what is the space within that industry to provide an inclusionary number within some of the multifamily housing projects. And then the number 5 is reduce restrictions on multifamily development. So looking at our zoning and trying to understand where does multifamily homes and apartment complexes fit in with the context of the town, and how can we expand that to provide space for affordable housing. And so if you go to the next slide, Anna. The next steps, we're collecting feedback on this draft plan. I suggest people look at our website and take a look at the plan, because I can only summarize so much in this amount of time. But there are a lot of interesting strategies and objectives for interesting objectives and strategies to meet those goals. We will be having a Town Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on July 12th at 7 p.m. There will be a public hearing on the affordable housing plan. At that point, we will hope to finalize the affordable housing plan and move forward to implementation later this summer and fall, assuming the Town Planning and Zoning Commission are in agreement on the strategies and objectives for reaching the affordable housing goals. So next slide. If there are any comments or feedback on this plan, please email me. I am collecting and bringing all of those comments into the plan to make sure that the voices are heard and that the vision of this plan fits with the community, and that the goals are in the right direction to move us forward. So I'm happy to answer questions from you guys if you have any.
Thank you, Kathy.
Catherine, thank you. And Catherine was working with Shannon, Rose, and Nancy Parent, and they've been doing a great job, and especially during COVID. So like Catherine said, the TPZ is going to be taking on this in July, but I think it's a good opportunity if the council has any questions, and if they do have any concerns, to mention them to Catherine, and also feel free, any kind of emails. And you do, in your packet, as I'm sure you saw, had the full plan. That is the full plan.
Yep, great.
Okay.
Okay, any questions from the council? Chris?
Thank you, Catherine. It was very informative. And I hope I'm not getting this wrong, but I think you mentioned that there was a 10% threshold for housing stock that we have to meet. I was wondering, is that mandatory, permissive? Is there penalties for not reaching that 10% threshold or anything in our plan?
So as I'm aware, today there are no penalties because we have had a moratorium on affordable housing. But moving forward, we are supposed to be striving for the 10% under state statute. At what point in time that changes and becomes more restrictive, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have
Fine.
a question. Catherine, it's very nice to meet you and welcome
Nice to
to the
meet you.
team.
Thank you.
I'm just curious to know if there are any development plans in the works now that would help us maybe address some of the 800 or so residences that we need to have for affordable housing. Do we have any new plans kind of in the work that might help address that?
Sure, we have no plans in the process that are proposing affordable housing units at this point in time. And just to be clear, we have 800 already, and we're looking for 235 more
Oh, okay.
to reach the 10%.
Yes.
Other questions? Peter?
Thank you, Catherine. How does all this work you guys have compiled here kind of correlate or run parallel or with pending legislation at the state level right now? Are we in a good position? How does this help us if any new state laws are passed?
Sure, so the goal is to have this plan align with the state general statute. As of right now, with what is being proposed, this will be aligned, but without knowing what is the final sign-off
Right.
on things.
So we're setting ourselves up in a pretty
Yeah,
Good position
this is
here.
in line with the current general statutes and is providing a guidance document for moving forward in this direction.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay, Catherine, I'd like to thank you. You've compiled some great information here for us to go through. I know this is always an issue that we're concerned about in town and we want to address. I know there are some existing areas in town or homes in town that might not be officially on the list that are potentially, we can draw into it. So it's likely we have already affordable housing that is not declared as such, so I assume we're looking into that also as part of the process.
Absolutely.
So, great. And again, it's my understanding we do pretty well with our 7.8% versus a lot of our neighbors.
Comparatively,
So we're really
yes.
doing well. So,
Yep.
okay, well, thank you. Appreciate all of that.
Of course, it's nice to be in front of you guys.
Thank you, Catherine.
Okay, our next item is item D, public hearing to amend the Farmington Town Code, Chapter 176, taxation. Sorry, Peter.
Wasn't that
I
Paula?
think Paula reads.
Paula Ray, there you go.
A public hearing will be held on June 8th, 2021, at 7:05 PM in the Town Hall Council Chambers to amend the Farmington Town Code, Chapter 176, taxation. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 26th day of May 2021, Kathleen A. Blonsky, Town Manager.
Joe, are you doing the presentation?
I think so.
It's tough in person, you know? It's tough in person. We can figure this all out on Zoom.
This,
Yeah, no, you could hide on Zoom, you
Yeah.
can't hide in person, right?
yeah.
If you can go to the next slide. I assume you're driving, Anna? Okay. Okay, back, one of the town council's strategic goals that they adopted last summer was to establish a subcommittee to look at the tax relief provisions of Chapter 176, taxation of the town code. It's going to be a tough one. The committee was appointed in January of this year, and the committee was composed of Brian Conley, Councilman Conley, and Councilman Fagan. The subcommittee decided to focus on looking at the elderly tax relief programs and also at the request of the Director of Fire and Rescue Services, the volunteer firefighter tax relief program. The committee met several times, met with the tax assessor and met with the Director of Fire and Emergency Services to go over what their concerns were, what their ideas were for tax relief for their areas. Based on the committee meetings, they decided to recommend, next page please. On the property tax relief for the elderly homeowners, we're talking only about the local option here. There are two provisions. We're talking the local option. Based on the discussions, they come up with three recommendations. One, to replace the sliding scale tax relief benefit, which we currently have, with a flat dollar amount benefit, which ranges from $1,500 to $250 based on income. The second proposal was to increase the benefit amount in each income category by $250. And their third recommendation is to add a new benefit for elderly and disabled taxpayers with an annual income between $51,800 and $57,800. If we can go to the next slide, I'll give you an idea of what we're talking about. This is our current program, and if, you also have in front of you, for those of you who, like me, can't see very well from that distance. But basically, our current program, the local option, we have income categories. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 income categories, ranging from 0 to 18,900, and to our highest category of income is 44,800 to 51,800. And based on that, you can receive a tax credit depending upon whether we're talking about a couple, married couple or unmarried taxpayer. The maximum credit that you could receive under the lowest income category is $1,250, and the maximum credit for an unmarried person is, in that lowest income category, is $1,000. Our highest category is the $45,000 to $51,000 range, and in that category, the maximum credit is $250 for a married couple, and $150 would be the minimum. So that's what it looks like right now, and based on that, those categories, you can get, and we're talking about an abatement. This comes off your tax bill. So if your tax bill is $6,000 and you're in one of those income categories, you're going to get that dollar amount off your taxes. If you're in the lowest income category, you're going to get either $1,250 or $1,000 off your taxes. So again, it comes right off your tax bill. What the committee proposed, if we go to the next slide, Anna, is to simplify it. So basically what we would do is we would take away the sliding scale. There would no longer be a percentage credit. We would go to a flat dollar amount, and we'd keep the same income categories, and we would just go to a flat dollar amount for each of the income categories. So there would be no maximum. There would be a maximum credit, and there wouldn't be any maximum minimum. That would be the credit you would get. So again, somebody who's a married couple having an income of less than $18,900 would get an income tax get a property tax credit of $1,500. Unmarried person would get a tax credit of $1,250. And we would also, and at the $45,000 to $51,000 range, you would get a $500 credit married and a $250 credit for unmarried. And then what the third recommendation was to add an additional income category, and that's the $51,000 to the $57,000. In that category of income, there would be a $250 credit. A couple things to point out about this. The ordinance reads that we mirror the state income levels. The state has a very similar program. The state does use credits, a percentage basis, and a maximum and minimum based on married and unmarried. This program piggybacks on the state program. So you would get the state credit, and you also would get the town credit, the local option credit. So you're actually getting 2 credits on your taxes. And the income guidelines, we also mirror the state for the first 6 categories. And we update the state income categories are updated every year based on inflation. So those categories going from 0 to $45,800 are updated every year by the state of Connecticut. and usually they go up, obviously, based on inflation. The 45,000 to 51,800 category was added by the town in the local option program. That is not eligible for the state credit. So a person in that income category only gets the local option credit. And also, the proposal for the new credit, the 51,000 to 57,000, that would not be part of the state program. That would be in a new income category on the state program. It would not have a piggyback on the state program. The ordinance proposal, we did not, it's already built into the ordinance, we didn't feel the need to change it, was that our ordinance calls for us to adjust the local option income categories as the state adjusts their categories. So every year when the state comes out with their new income levels, our income levels will jump up accordingly. And our last two levels, because they're not part of the state program, would automatically jump up by $6,000, would jump up to keep that $6,000 increase. So if the state program went up by $1,000, then next year the 57.8 would become 58.8. It would just match that. Next slide, please, Anna. The other part of the recommendation from the committee was the property tax relief for the volunteer firefighters. And again, this is based on discussions with the Director of Fire and Rescue Services. And the subcommittee was recommending that the current program that's in place, that we increase the abatements by $500 for existing call volume categories. And we also add a third category with a $2,000 abatement for volunteers who respond to 320 or more calls per year. And what that would look like, and on the next page. So for your firefighters responding to calls between 180 to 249 calls, the tax abatement would be increased from $500 to $1,000. Again, it would be $1,000 off your taxes. For responding to calls from 250 to 319, the tax abatement would be increased from $1,000 to $1,500. And then there would be a new category, responding to 320 calls or more, the tax abatement would be $2,000. And again, that would be a new category that would be added to the ordinance. Next page. The cost for these programs, based on analysis that the assessor and I did, the elderly tax relief change, we believe, will result in an estimated tax loss of about $57,500 per year. That's in addition to what the tax loss already is. So this would be an additional $57,500 per year. On the volunteer firefighter abatement, the changes are estimated to result in a tax loss of about $55,000 per year, in addition to what is already being on the current program. The current program, I got the numbers for the volunteers today. The current program this year, the tax loss is going to be about $29,000. So this would be $55,000 on top of the current $29,000. So combined, you'd be looking at a tax loss of $112,500 per year. And then finally, the program calls for the programs to become effective with the tax bills for July 1, 2022, which would be a year from now. So once the ordinance is passed, and we would go through the process for next year, and applications are taken for next year. This would actually tie into two things. One, it would tie into the start of the paying back of the debt service for the high school project, where you'll start to see some tax increases, and also it'll be a year earlier, but it also will tie into the revaluation, which will take place in July of 2023. If you have any questions, be happy to answer those, or if the committee was Brian Connolly and Chris Fagan, if they would like to add anything.
Okay, generally with our public hearing, what we do now is go on to public comment, any questions that the public may have. We take the public in person first, and then if we have anyone on Zoom who has questions, I believe we can do that as well. So we could start, is there any public on this topic only? We will have a separate public comment for further topics. So anyone who has a comment on the public hearing on tax relief? Okay, would you step up to the podium, please?
Good evening. Rich Higley, 292 Scott Swamp Road in Farmington, also Chief of Tunx's Hose out of Unionville. And I have Chief Gorbulis, Steve Hoffman, Director of Fire Emergency Services, and then past Chief Russ Nelson in the back. But Chief Corbilis will also say a few words. But before I do, I also recognize we're here talking about volunteers, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the town council. You were also volunteers, which we all appreciate very much. To say that it's been a tough year and a half would be an understatement, so thanks for that. And thank you to the town manager for all her support for the fire departments. So we're here tonight to just show our support for the tax abatement and just a little bit of history. In my 20 years at Tungus Hose, I've seen the rise and falls of volunteers. You hear about it across the nation, across the town. But just in my time, I've seen our volunteer levels go from 59 to today is 39. And the call volume has not decreased. Obviously, Director Hoffman talks about it all the time. It's actually increased, so less people are doing more work. Just to talk about, we're staffed Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. In 2019, 7/19 to 6/30/20, we did 3,709 calls. Of that, the staffed, which would be 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., 1,690, with the balance of 2,019 calls being covered by the volunteers. So that would be after 5 p.m. till 6 a.m., Saturday, Sunday, and holidays. The same goes for the call volume for this past year. It's starting to rise once again. People are getting active again. This is in addition to the 15 mandated drills that are required by OSHA just to stay compliant with to be an interior firefighter, emergency medical technician. And we still have our social side, which is the fundraising side to pay for our uniforms, holiday parties, and awards. So appreciate the support on this. It means a lot. Whatever we can do to retain, but also bring in new members, I think this would be a useful tool. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mike Bullis, 205 Plainville Avenue, also the Chief of Farmington Fire. I'm not going to repeat what Chief Higley said, but this is very important to us. It's a huge recruitment and retention tool to be able to give our volunteers a little something extra. We're reimbursed, per call, but this is a good recruitment and retention tool, and we're looking for things to keep people and to add people to our staff. We appreciate everything, all the support you all give us, and we appreciate your support on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments on this tax plan? The council will have an opportunity to speak when we bring it up, item N2 and N3 in the agenda. Okay, with that, we will be closing the public hearing. Move on to item E, new items, none here.
Yes,
Yes.
there is.
There is. Peter?
I'd like to add agenda item 13 to approve the attached resolutions for the state grant application for the new construction of a Farmington High School.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I would like to add another agenda item 14 to approve the attached resolutions for the state grant application for the renovations of the Farmington Public Schools Central Office Administration.
Second.
We have a motion, and a second to add item J14. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously.
That's it.
Okay. Now we'll move on to public comment on any other topics. Please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Lisa Humbarger, 6 Fox Run Road in Unionville. I'm glad to have this opportunity to speak with you guys this evening, so thank you very much for your time. I know this past year has been difficult, and many of us feel as though we're running on empty right now. And I can appreciate that you guys have several projects at this time that are vying for your attention. But there's something that makes the issue that I want to address really important, and that's the statistics. According to the National Survey on LGBTQ Youth Mental Health, published by the Trevor Project in 2019, our youth were in a precarious position before the pandemic, so one can only assume that the isolation and fear of the last year has only worsened their situation. The survey found that among the youth, 39% had seriously considered attempting suicide within the last 12 months. That rate jumps to 50% for non-binary and transgendered youth. 71% said they had experienced discrimination. 87% said it was important to them that they reach out to a crisis intervention organization. Less than half of the survey respondents were out to an adult at school. 2 in 3 LGBTQ youth reported that someone tried to convince them to change their sexual orientation or gender identity. And I would discourage anyone from thinking that this conversion rehabilitation mindset no longer exists. I've experienced it here in Farmington, unfortunately. When we were searching for a church home, we went and sat through a sermon, and I met with the lead youth pastor at the church, and I asked them what their stance was on these issues and how they dealt with children that were part of the LGBTQ community. And I was told that the way they deal with it is that they ask the child and the friends and family to pray to God and to ask them to change their heart and their mind. And this will go on for years at a time. If that does not work, then they will ask them to go ahead and just take a vow of celibacy until they have found a way to move past their condition. And this is not an evil church. It's not bad people. There are pillars of our community that go there. My daughter's friends' parents go there. Loving neighbors of mine go there. So I think we have this image of people with this mindset, and I think we need to make an effort to reach out and educate folks and change some hearts and mind. So, since that day, I've spent a lot of time thinking about the kids who aren't necessarily in abusive or unloving homes, but are just in homes where they feel misunderstood, invisible, and unable to freely be themselves. These kids can easily fall through the cracks. Their hurts and their bruises and their scars aren't visible to their teachers or other caring adults or even their friends. So tonight, I'm here to advocate for them. This town, this council, this school system has the ability to help those kids feel seen, to let them know that they are accepted and valuable just as they are, and most importantly, that they are not alone. This town can come together as a community and let our LGBTQ residents and youth know that their struggles are recognized, their accomplishments celebrated, and their future possibilities limitless. We can show our support verbally and through our actions. The Avon Town Council raised the pride flag over their town library just a few days ago, and they've now declared June LGBTQ plus Pride Month in Avon. For the month of June, the pride flag joined the American flag, and both are currently flying over the Unity Green in West Hartford Center. Additionally, starting June 1st, West Hartford Superintendent Tom Moore ordered that pride flags be raised at all West Hartford public schools. So my question is this: how is this town and community going to put its vision statement into action of being a progressive town with engaged citizenry committed to the betterment of the entire community and acknowledge June 2021 as Pride Month and our LGBTQ plus residents and youth? Thank you for listening and for taking my comments into consideration. I
Thank you
appreciate
very
your
much.
time.
Appreciate your time.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
So my name is Alyssa Humbarger. I live on 6 Fox Run Road, and I'm 11 years old and bisexual. Me and my mom are here today to tell you why the town of Farmington should do something for Pride Month, such as put up pride flags. This topic is truly important to the both of us, so we appreciate you guys letting us speak and share our opinions with you. Pride Month, for those of you who don't know, is a time where the LGBTQ plus community embraces themselves and lets the world know that they are proud of who they are. This is why it would be amazing if the town of Farmington could do something to celebrate Pride Month. Farmington celebrating Pride Month would benefit me and others in various ways. Number one, it would make the LGBTQ plus community feel as if we can be ourselves without being judged quite as much. Number two, would help people, including myself, feel as if they aren't alone. Number three, it would be a great act of kindness, especially in a time like this where unfortunately a lot of racism and discrimination is going on. Number four, the LGBTQ plus community for sure needs way more representation, so this would help represent it. Number five, last but not least, it's a good way to educate people, whether you're young like me or old like my mom. Just a few days ago, 3 girls in my school decided to start a Pride presentation. Basically, what they did is they put together a slideshow defining what LGBTQ+ is, different sexualities, and different genders, and more. Words cannot describe how much it meant to me that they did that. I know that some other people felt that way also, because I noticed a few kids at school came out, some as bisexual, some as pansexual, some as lesbian, and more. This helped me feel a lot more accepted in my school, which is why I need Farmington to celebrate Pride Month somehow. I want others to feel the way I felt that day. People deserve to feel accepted. People deserve to feel respected, and people deserve to be the way they are without being judged so much. I've had friends who've struggled with feeling accepted. Their parents don't accept them, they get bullied for it, and discriminated against due to being a part of the LGBTQ+ community. If they see that Farmington cares, that will let them know that at least someone out there cares and accepts them. I'm aware that there's a lot of people out there who aren't accepted by family or friends, but just this simple act of kindness from Farmington could make them feel loved, accepted, and happy.
Thank you very much. We have a comment on Zoom now, I believe.
So Jay Tulin has his hand up. I'd like to speak. Jay, go ahead.
Jerry, you out there?
Do you mind starting over?
Jay, if you could start over, please. Okay, Jay said never mind. Well, thank you very much.
Do we have anybody else?
Okay.
Nope, it was just Jay.
Okay, any other public comment in person? Thank you. We'll move on to item G.
I make a motion to accept the May 11th, 2021 regular town council meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Item H, reading of communications and written appeals. Kathy?
You have the communication in front of you. I don't know if you have any questions.
Yeah, what, summarize this?
Yep, I will do so. Hold on one second. So there we are. So this is this bill, and it's access to certain public employees by exclusive bargaining representation of a public employer's bargaining unit. So this bill has passed both houses of the legislature. It's now on the governor's desk, and it's expected to be signed into legislation, and it would go in effect October 1st, 2021. The highlights is that, in general, it mandates that the town provide information. That's okay. Mandates that the town provides information to the union, such as home addresses, without the employee's consent. This is against the current law for certain vulnerable categories of employees. It places some administrative burdens on municipalities, such as delaying the hiring process by 10 days, which could lead to gaps in employment and hinder an onboarding process. The bill also mandates that bargaining unit members have some access to the government facilities to conduct meetings with new employees. And it delegates certain payroll functions to the union, such as dues paid by the public employee unions. So this bill, I'm not sure what the real effect is going to be on the town of Farmington. It is a bill that we did oppose But that said, I'm not exactly sure of really what the ramifications are going to be for the town of Farmington. We do have, it seems what we're learning about it, it has to do with the onboarding process of employees coming into the town of Farmington, and that the union has the right to be part of that onboarding process and be part of those meetings. So when a new employee comes into the town of Farmington, we usually meet with them. The union's usually not part of that meeting. I think my understanding is, Erica, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the union then would now be allowed to be part of those meetings.
Yes, and also we would have to give them no less than 10 days notice of that, so it would have to factor into our hiring process. And sometimes we do hire with tight timelines, especially for things like police appointments to the academy and things like that. So it has a lot of.
And how does this benefit a union? They have more control over the future employee and accessibility to their information, and
Yeah, it does. I mean, it gives them. The entire bill was have this much for union benefits and this much for the town. I think when Kathy says, what kind of impact does it have on Farmington? I'm not sure that unions across the state will have the ability and the capability to do everything that this bill says, because someone like AFSCME or Fraternal Order Police or IFF, I don't think they have enough staff to manage the things that they've been given in this bill to be able to do.
okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none. Moving on to item I, reports of committees. Land Acquisition Committee.
Nothing new to report.
Marine Efforts Committee.
The Green Efforts Committee met June 2nd. Our focus continues to be on energy efforts in sustainable Connecticut, CT, and especially the equity toolkit with trying to increase transportation equity for non-drivers to meet their needs within the community. Trying to achieve this through conversations and community engagement. We also have a subcommittee up working on anti-idling issues at schools and signage. There's only one sign in the district, and we're looking to expand that into loading docks and parent pickup areas to increase or decrease the idling of cars and buses and trucks that are making deliveries. And we're working with the Connecticut Green Bank on a potential power purchase agreement for solar projects in town, with focusing on school buildings, especially the elementary schools, due to their electricity purchase rates and age of the buildings.
Great, thanks. Now, do you know, just I'm putting you on the spot, is there a state law about idling, anti-idling state law?
I do not know the answer to that.
Okay, item 3, Farmington High School Building Committee. Anything going on there?
I cannot think of a single thing, CJ. As obviously everybody knows, the referendum passed this just the other day, so the building committee will start meeting again, having canceled some meetings pending the voting on the referendum. All I would say at this point, and I will do no justice to everybody that deserves it, but just thank you to this town council, Kathy, you, Kat, your entire office, Superintendent Greeter, her office, the Board of Education, the building committee, Meg Guerrera, our professional partners, everybody for all their hard effort in this project. I think is probably my statements previously that I think this is the right solution for the town at this time. We'll be moving forward with finalizing plans. Putting the project out to bid and just moving forward with the project. So I know it was obviously subject to some debate in town, and I think the only thing I would say to that is to use the words of Farmington High School itself, which focuses on one school, one community, one us. And I think going forward, that's something we all should try and strive for.
Thank you, Chris. Elderly tax relief, item 4.
As presented by Joe, we'll be talking about it later, but that's coming up later.
Perfect. Item 5, Racial Equity Task Force.
Yes, the task force met on May 17th. We are now meeting once a month with many subcommittee meetings throughout the month to accomplish our goals with the action plan. The most recent community conversation was held on June 1st. The topic was titled Unpacking Our Unconscious Bias. It featured executive mommy group consultant Tricia Arthur Noble, and founder of Moon Shadow Consulting. Wendy Brown Hellcamp, and over 35 people attend the event, which streamed over Facebook. All of our webinars are available to watch on the town's website and the task force webpage. The next meeting is scheduled for June 14th at 6:30 p.m. over Zoom.
Thank you. And I will say, if anyone is interested in seeing any of the videos, I believe we can get them online on the town's website. So if you'd like to see any of the past presentations from the Racial Equality Task Force, you can do that. With that, we'll move on to the report of the town chair and liaison, starting with the town chair. As Chris just mentioned, we just recently had a referendum. And I'd like to thank everyone who actually got out and voted for this referendum. Having a referendum with a 33% turnout is tremendous. People truly cared. I heard people trying to make estimates as who brought out the vote and who didn't bring out the vote. I don't think it has anything whatsoever to do with that. I've spoken to seniors, people with young children in school, people with no children at all, and across the board, I only heard positive responses. The no vote had 3,000 less participants this year. I think that sends a very large message. The vote was 2-1. The town has spoken. So again, thank you for everyone who actually got out and voted. I think this is one of those decisions in a town that is a once-in-a-generation decision. We've planned very well as a council, as a town, for many years to put us in a good situation to move forward with this, so it would have far less tax impact. We've just talked about, and we will continue to talk about later in this meeting, our tax relief program to help some of those people who were most affected by this, so we'll lessen the impact on them as well. So that's, again, I appreciate everyone who put in the time. Chris did a fine job of thanking everyone, whether it's town staff, school staff, the volunteers on this council, the Board of Education, as well as the building committee, who has not completed their work, so they don't get to go home yet. They still have to work on the designs, and there's plenty more work to be done. So again, just a big thank you to everyone. Also, the Parsons property I will mention. I know the State House has signed over. We're waiting for 2 signatures. Once those 2 signatures are gotten, then the Parsons property will become Farmington's land rather than State of Connecticut's land, and we will be putting together a committee to design what we'll be putting on the Parsons property. So that's something that's coming up. The other thing I just want to mention is, as anyone who has stepped foot outside whatsoever in the last 2 days, whether it says so on the calendar or not, summer is here. With that, we fill up our trails, we fill up our river, our parks, and everything else. Please just be aware and consider of others. Anything you carry into any of those areas, carry out. Hopefully we'll have enough facilities and receptacles that you can drop your trash in, but just if you have a bag full of stuff when you go in, make sure you bring that same bag full of stuff out. No one likes to walk down the trails or by the river and see things floating down the river, sitting on the side of the trail. So again, be courteous to others and be considerate, and we can all have a great summer, I hope. That is all I have from the chair report. I will now turn it over to the Board of Education liaison.
Thank you, CJ. The Board of Education met last night, and it's similar season as to what we experienced earlier this evening. It's recognition and awards time of the year. The first recognition last night was for Leslie Imsey, who won the Connecticut Music Education Association's Outstanding Arts Administrator Award, which was a wonderful achievement for Leslie and her dedication to the music program over the years. Then there was a number of, and to the extent I never do the Board of Education meetings justice in my summaries, you can always go and see them. But again, another just litany of students who are recognized as scholar leaders, art leadership awards, art scholars, scholar athletes, principal award winner, and the salutatorian and valedictorian. So just wonderful kids who are doing wonderful things at the schools. They were all recognized. In terms of the superintendent's report, no significant COVID updates. Everything's trending well. The graduation is on June 16th, scheduled to be outside, and keep our fingers crossed on that. East Farms construction project is on schedule. Excel, they provided an updated report, and I think everybody can appreciate with COVID, it's been a challenging year for Excel, but it has taken a favorable uptick as the year is ending. Kim Wynn presented summer school offerings, which is always an impressive program we're offering at the summer schools, and also went over the 21-22 return to school plan, which I guess, in terms of ESSER funds and utilization of those funds, and just, again, probably with COVID still out there, all these plans are, the cornerstone is flexibility. So we'll just have to see how things go when the school returns in the fall, and working with community engagement to just get, the best sense of how they're going to do it. They're going to prepare for hybrids in person and everything, every eventuality is going to be prepared for, and so they're just going through that right now. There was some discussion of the utilization of the ESSER funds and the spending of that money through the 23-24 school year. And the budget impact, again, the ESSER funding is rolling in. Excel and Continue Ed has, although had its struggles during this past year, are doing better. Cafeteria obviously is trending up with more kids being in the schools. And there was just some policy updates, new course approvals, textbook adoptions, and some health and safety protocols were adopted. And they'll have their last meeting in a couple weeks.
Great, thank you, Chris. Economic Development Commission Liaison.
Yes, thank you, CJ. So the May EDC meeting was canceled, but the Economic Development Commission is hosting its spring business breakfast event on Wednesday, June 23rd from 7:45 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. at the Farmington Club. The event will be in person and held outside. The keynote speaker will be Mr. Sho Islam, Director of Business Development at Advanced CT. Sho will share his thoughts and insights on Connecticut's growing bioscience ecosystem, which is of particular interest to us with Jackson Lab and the UConn campus there. And Sho leads Advanced CT's development efforts for the life sciences sector. He joined Advanced CT in October 2020 with over 15 years of economic development experience. Prior to joining Advanced CT, Sho in Islam was the business development officer at Choose New Jersey Incorporated and successfully led the business development efforts in technology and life science sectors. Sho also has led the business development efforts at Rutgers University's Food Innovation Center. His 13-plus year tenure at the RFIC includes various roles of progressive responsibilities. Sho received a BS in Environmental Business Economics, MS in Food and Business Economics, and an MS in Public Affairs with an emphasis in community development from Rutgers University. And the next economic development meeting is tomorrow, June 9th at 5:30 p.m.
I think half that meeting is going to be his resume.
Yeah, pretty big resume, yeah.
It's now, I believe, been over a year since the last in-person economic development breakfast. I remember going to that one. It was a little chilly outside with the heat lamps and all that, so looking forward to having another one of those. Farmington Historic District Commission.
You may not lead the heat lamps this time.
I don't think we will.
All right, a lot going on in the Historic District. Thank you, CJ. Here's what came up at our last meeting. It was voted to approve the Sanchez Sanio and Lisa Marone application for a temporary certificate of appropriateness to install cedar fencing at 25 Hatters Lane. Also, it was voted unanimously to approve James Elkington application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to install a mini split condenser unit at 145 Main Street. Guess everyone wants air conditioning now.
Mm-hmm.
It was also voted unanimously to approve Ms. Porter's school application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to replace windows and install air handling units at 64 Main Street. Was also unanimously approved the Ms. Porter School application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to screen the HVAC system at 60 Main Street. So a lot of cool projects going on in the village.
Enough with the dad puns. Thank you.
Our next meeting is next Tuesday, the 15th at 4 p.m.
Great, thank you, Brian. Housing Authority.
That would be Gary.
Oh. See. Gary, are you with us, and do you have anything from Housing Authority? Okay. How will we know if he's speaking? Okay. I think Gary and Jay are sharing a phone tonight. Okay, thank you, Gary. Moving on to,
It's okay, I think
we have a
we're good.
laugh track now. This is great.
We're good.
Okay, Human Relations Commission.
Thank you, sir. The HRC met on May 24th and introduced our new member, Ann Newberry. The HRC also created a new subcommittee to look at the sponsoring a voter registration event focused on persons with disabilities in conjunction with the American Association of Persons with Disabilities in September. They'll also be discussing a community survey at our next meeting on June 28th.
Thank you very much. The Library Board is also Gary.
I think we should probably pass.
We're going to just pass. Okay,
yeah.
Gary, we appreciate it. The library is fully open. I'll pinch it here. We're open. Please go and borrow some books.
Yeah.
Okay, Town Planning and Zoning, number 8.
TPZ, yes, sir. 402 Farmington Avenue Metro Realty Project. The zone change in the site plan was approved in their last meeting, I believe, on June 2nd, but the height of the building was not approved.
Okay.
And we have our next meeting, I believe, last night. So nothing really big coming on the horizon.
Very good.
So what's that mean?
It means they go back for a redesign, basically, of the building. They want to lower it by height, since the height was not approved.
So they start the process all over again?
No,
They
no, it's
just have
been
to
the
have-
site plan, this
Yeah.
redesign.
Revised site plan?
Yes, to have it be.
3
at
stories?
3 stories.
Okay.
Unionville Historic District Commission.
Yes, the Unionville Historic District Commission met on June 3rd. The commission approved a certificate of appropriateness for a Greek Revival home at 230 Main Street for updated siding, windows, and shutters. And the next meeting is scheduled for July 1st at 7 p.m.
Did you give your learned opinion on the Greek Revival?
Of course.
Glad to hear that. UVIA.
UVIA, nothing new to report.
Thank you. WPCA.
WPCA meets tomorrow night.
Any other liaisons or commissions that we have not heard from? Okay. Now, item K, the report of the town manager.
Even though I did write none, I do have a few things to report on. One of the things, and I think we can see for tonight, is that Brian and our computer staff have been working that if we're going to continue with this technology, that we have to upgrade our systems. And so that is something that we talked about today, and that the COVID funds we're able to use that. So between camera systems and different things that will work, we've been, luckily, knock wood, we've been succeeding relatively well, but the more advanced we have these meetings and being hybrid and having Zoom and a lot of the different things, we definitely need to upgrade our systems, as you can see from tonight. So that is one thing that we are working on, and with the COVID funds, we'll be able to spend the money on that. So that was just one thing that I wanted to talk about. The other thing is Brian reminded me that we did talk about last time the sidewalks on Main Street, and I did have an opportunity to put together kind of a review of that and an update from the last meeting. So if you remember going back to August 10th of 2020, that was when we were notified of the sidewalk project. At that time, I think we spoke to the council, and the council in October did a certified resolution, but also asked us at that time to have a community meeting. So we took another month, and in November, we had that community meeting that was very well attended out on the church, St. Patrick's. And that was in November. And at that time, we also, that was at the end of October. Then in November of 2020, the town council approved the phasing and design plan. It took a couple of weeks, and in early December, we submitted the first requirement documents to the state. And one of the things that I think I keep on forgetting, but we have 2 grants that we've received, which was great. But one of the grants came from the DECD. One of the grants is from the DOT. So there's 2 state agencies that we have to deal with this, which is unusual. We did put our documents in December to the state. In a month later, the state came back to us with some more, needed some more information. 5 days later, we sent in the bid specs again. A month later, we heard from them about financial assistance and some different things. And we went back and forth the month of February, and in March 9th, we sent our what we thought were the final updated bid specs to the DECD. We did not hear back from them until May. And in May, that's when I reported on at the last meeting that we were still going back and forth with the bid specs, but there was a big delay between the end of February and May at the state of Connecticut. After the meeting last time, this was through the DECD. We did receive on May 10th the approval through the DECD. Now we're at the DOT. And the DOT, which we thought was going to be a relatively simple permit process, has not seemed to be as simple as that. So we now have gone back and forth with the DOT on permitting, which typically is not a large situation, but they are requiring a lot of information from us. We're not exactly sure why, but they are. We're hopeful that that's going to be finalized, I think, Kat, in the next week or so. Cross our fingers on that. So in general, I would just say two things about this project is that one is that I think between COVID, I think between the state of Connecticut's employees working from home, I think between having to have two state agencies, I think the state is, as we all know, is sometimes historically slow to start with, but I think it's been additionally slow. That said, I think it's fair to say that I think that we underestimated the amount of time it was going to take to go through the state process. So we're still hopeful that if we can turn it around, get it out to bid, and have the people hold their bids, and so that we can go through, because if we can't finish it up by the end of the fall, that it would be able to hold and start in the spring, but at least get it out to bid. But that's where we are right now. With it, I think that it would be fair to say between Russ and Kat, we have tried to do a lot of tracking back with the state. It's not that we haven't been calling and asking and things of that nature, but it has been a difficult process. So that, I think, was the update that, Brian, you had asked for that. So.
Yes, thank you very much for the detail.
And just to follow up on your statement that we underestimated the time. We underestimated the time, but they're asking for things they've never asked for before. Is that not correct?
At the permit level at the DOT, yes, they're definitely asking for things that we've never seen. On the other side on the DECD, I think we've underestimated that. They're usually relatively slow, but we went back and forth with the bid documents, which is expected, and that was in the month of, I think I said February. But between March and May, that's a considerable amount of time that really it stayed in their hands. And that, I think we underestimated that part of it, how long it was going to take to get it turned over for us. And again, as everyone, we are experiencing it too. Between COVID and the things that are going on, things are slower. There's no question about that.
Processes have changed for everybody.
Yeah.
I get that. Any questions for Kathy? The report. Do I have a motion to accept?
Yes, I'll make a motion to accept the town manager's report.
Second.
We have a motion to accept and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Do we have any appointments? I'm not aware of any. No appointments. Going once? Going twice?
Nice.
I see side talk. No appointments?
I believe there's an appointment to the Board of Education, non-certified pension board.
Oh, to the appointment to the pension board, Board of Ed representative.
The Board of Ed representative to the pension board, okay. Do we have that name? And that is one that the town council does not make, the Board of
That's correct.
Education makes, and we just confirm that.
It's the union, actually.
The union
makes it.
makes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Joshua Allen has resigned and Vic Mashad is an appointed by the mayor.
It's L7 on your agenda.
L7 on appointments. If we can make a motion, and Vic Mashad is who is the name there, Peter?
Yep.
Okay,
L7?
L7.
I make agenda item L7, I make a motion that Vic Marshad be appointed to the Retirement Board for the balance of a 2-year term beginning immediately and ending January 2022.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Okay. Moving on to M, old business. Seeing none, I believe this time. New business, N1.
I make a motion to approve the following town council meeting schedule for 2022 and to set the date of the annual town meeting.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. This is the point in the year when we schedule whoever is sitting in these seats, what time they will be there, so we can taunt them by throwing in some odd dates, just in case. I don't see any like that. Any discussion on the schedule? Seeing none, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N2, I make a motion to move that Article 4 property tax relief for the elderly homeowners, local option of Chapter 176 taxation of the Farmington Town Code be amended as attached.
Second?
Motion and a second. Kathy?
As you can see from your agenda item, we had the existing ordinance and then the amendments to it. Joe went through the details to it. The note also explains it. If there's any questions for the committee members or Joe?
This is our moment to ask questions. Edward?
Thank you, CJ. Just two quick questions. The first one is, will this be shown on the tax bill when the resident receives it? That they'll see the deduction, they just won't see the credit? Yep.
When a person who has an abatement receives their tax bill, they'll see the gross amount, they'll see the abatement amount, and then they see the net amount.
Okay, great. And then my second question is, like I know there's also abatement for disabled people. Would that be cumulative if they're disabled and elderly? Would they receive credits from both of those?
No. Basically, it's the same program. We call it tax relief for the elderly. It's actually tax relief for the elderly and disabled.
And disabled. Okay.
And so somebody who's over 65, they get the credit whether they're elderly or if they're disabled. If they're under 65 and disabled, they would get the credit also. That's where it comes in. But it's not a cumulative. It doesn't piggyback on each other. It's just you get the one credit or one abatement.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. Yeah, just because everything we saw here said elderly, so I wanted to make sure we were considering that.
Yeah, and the way the programs, the way the ordinance is written, it actually says tax relief for the elderly, but it's also elderly and disabled.
Elderly and disabled. Thanks, Joe.
There are other programs, just to clarify, there are like veterans programs which do piggyback on. So if there are disabled veterans, there's veterans programs and veterans disabled programs, which also piggyback on the tax relief for the elderly or disabled. So somebody could get multiple abatements because of that.
Got it. Thank you.
And they could volunteer for the fire department?
Sure.
Any other questions?
Actually, just a clarification, Joe, could you just tell us about the application process for this?
Sure. The tax relief for the elderly and disabled, the application process is set by the, it's actually set by the state and the assessor. So starts in February, goes to approximately May 15th of each year. People would apply for it, and you apply every other year. Once you receive the abatement, or once you're in the system, so to speak, you apply every other year. But initially, you would have to apply, and then every other year, you would have to reapply. There is an application form. It's on the website. It's also available in the assessor's office. And there's, you do have to show income. You have to show proof of income. And those guidelines are all listed on the application, what's acceptable to show proof of income. The applications are submitted to the assessor's office. They're reviewed by the assessor and the staff, and then people are notified whether they qualify or not and what their abatement would be.
Great. I just didn't want people thinking it was going to show up like a birthday present on their birthday when they turn 65.
No, they have to apply for it. And one of the things we do have it on the website. We do notify people who have to reapply. We do notify them that they have to reapply, encouraging people. one of the things about these programs is when you look at the census numbers as to how many elderly you have in your community, and you look at the number of applications you receive, you're probably getting about 40 to 50% of the eligible people actually applying for it. And that's not just in Farmington, that's something nationwide.
Thank you, Joe. And I do have one comment I did want to share.
Uh-oh.
No, it's a good one. But I want to say, Joe, when you gave your presentation, you categorized the tax loss to the town. But I think when it comes in particular to our firefighters and service providers here in town, that's not really a loss. I'm looking at that as a real investment in our town. More so like our school, I think that that money that we give the men and women of this town who save our homes and our lives when duty calls, that is an investment we're making in our safety and in our community. I don't see that as a tax loss at all. So I just wanted to say that.
Very good point, Brian. I mean, we're very fortunate to have a very active volunteer department, so there is tremendous savings to having a volunteer. So I would agree with you. That is an investment in the town. So thank you. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none. We have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N3, I make a motion to approve that Article 5, property tax relief for volunteer firefighters of Chapter 176, taxation of the Farmington Town Code be amended as attached.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Chris?
Well, I would just echo Brian's comments on this. Yeah, it's absolutely an investment in our town. I mean, it's just a wonderful job you guys do, and I can't thank you enough.
Great. Anything else?
All I got to say, from being in those shoes, it is a hard job. You come home from work, and then you got to go to training, and then you go to calls, and then you go to calls in the middle of the night and early in the morning and on the weekends and family functions, and this is worth every penny to the men and women who are in our volunteer service. It's a lot. It's a small price to pay.
And I will say this past Friday, we just gave out 2 proclamations to a 50-year and a 60-year volunteer. So, once you get in, there's no getting out. So, thank you. We have a motion, a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N4, I make a motion to approve the attached resolution authorizing the town manager to file and execute an application for state financial assistance with the state of Connecticut Department of Housing for an affordable housing planning grant.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This was a resolution that you already authorized on October 13th, but we needed a 1-month extension, as we talked about it earlier this evening. The TPZ is going to look at this in July, so they've asked us to sign another resolution.
So we're giving you approval to accept money?
Yes, that is absolutely.
Okay. Let's see any of you be against that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N5, I make a motion that the 2 joint stock corporation books be transferred to the custody of the Farmington Room of the Farmington Public Library.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I'm looking forward to this description.
I was going to say, I hadn't had a chance to talk to Paula about this, but I don't think I've ever seen this resolution before. So it's,
Well, no, we're doing some housework and organizing our older records, and these particular records have, not that they don't have any value to the town, but they're not used in the town clerk's office for any type of research. But we have the older records that are still used for research for land searching. But these would be better suited for the Farmington Room.
So they will go in with the other historic documents in the Farmington Room.
Right.
Great. Any question? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N6, I make a motion to authorize the town manager to sign the attached memorandum of understanding between the town of Farmington and the Farmington Fraternal Order of Police, local number 331, extending the contract due to expire on June 30th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Kathy?
This is a memorandum of understanding, and the next item too would be for police and fire, that it would be a one-year extension of their contract with no other changes other than a wage increase of 2.25%. This will be helpful for us to extend both of these contracts, because right now we are negotiating all 5 at the same period of time, and this will help us by breaking up the 2 larger unions, which is the police and then also the ASME. So this would be no other changes in their contract other than a 2.25% wage increase.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N7, I make a motion to authorize the town manager to sign the attached memorandum of understanding between the town of Farmington and the International Association of Firefighters, local number 3103, extending the contract due to expire on June 30th, 2021.
Second.
And this is the same thing, but this is with the fire union, and it's a 2.25% and no other changes to the contract.
Okay, any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N8, I make a motion to update the 2020-2022 Town Council Strategic Plan, Section 5.4-A, and Goal 24A as attached.
Second.
In January, as you know, the Racial Equality Task Force presented its action plan to the town council, and part of that action plan was a recommendation that the town council, that they add a strategic plan goal in regard to zero tolerance for racism in Farmington. And you can see in our strategic plan, we added a new 5.4A, which would be the new desired outcome, and this came from the group. It would be Farmington is committed to eliminating racism and other forms of discrimination, retaliation, and harassment in our community, and that the town will not tolerate behaviors or practices, how do you say it?
Incongruent.
Yes, with this statement. I didn't want to mispronounce it. Thank you.
Ruined.
Yes. And then you can see on the other side of the goals, we updated the goal. The first goal was to establish the ad hoc committee and the town action plan, and now it would be to ensure that the Racial Equality Task Force moves forward with the goals of the town's action plan and that they receive the appropriate staff to support and complete its objective. So we thought it would be a good time to update the actual goal too.
Great. So we accomplished the first half and we're making a new goal.
Right.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, we have motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N9, I make a motion to set a public hearing on July 13th, 2021 at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers to accept the study committee report and amend Farmington Town Code Chapter 111, Historic Areas, for the purpose of adding 2 properties to the lovely Main Historic District and 1 historic property under the jurisdiction of the Unionville Historic District and Properties Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
So if you remember in the last manager's report, we said this was coming. It's a public hearing in July. And the Unionville study report details and recommends 2 properties for the inclusion in the Unionville Lovely Main Historic District and 1 property to be designated as a historic property. And the property owners are in agreement with this recommendation. But next month we'll have the public hearing and then we'll change the ordinance.
Great. Any discussion?
I just want to tell you, we've already done the balloting, and it was unanimous.
Oh, great.
Fantastic. Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Agenda item N10.
This is also unanimous, just for the record.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Agenda item N10, I make a motion to set a public hearing on July 13th, 2021 at 7:05 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers to accept the study committee report and amend Farmington Town Code Chapter 111 Historic Areas for the purpose of adding 3 historic properties under the jurisdiction of the Farmington Historic District Commission.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, Kathy?
So the Farmington study report details and recommends 3 properties for the inclusion in the Farmington Historic District as historic properties. And my understanding is the property owners are in agreement with this. And did the balloting take place on this side too?
Well, for these, you don't have to have ballotings because they're only historic properties. They're not part of the actual district.
Right,
But the property owners are in agreement.
thank you.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N11, I make a motion to approve a contract in the amount of $84,551.15 to Security 101, Advanced Security Integration LLC of Southington for a town hall card access system under Connecticut State Contract 17PSX0002.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Kathy?
As you know, that we've been working for some upgrades for security at the town hall, and this expenditure is our first for our card access system. This system will be in lieu of our traditional key system and will use access cards. The Board of Education and the Police Department use similar systems for their buildings. It will aid in providing a safe and secure working environment for employees and visitors to the Farmington Town Hall. We will be able to have administrative controls that are based on individual and department needs. Also, we'll be able to track building usage, and we'll have tighter controls than a key system. The town council has to approve this because it's over $50,000, but we do have money allocated in our capital improvement plan, and this contract is on the on the state bid.
Great, any questions? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N12, I make a motion to approve the following property tax refunds as listed below.
Second.
Right?
I just want to make sure.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Taxes.
Taxes,
Refunds.
refunds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item 13, I make a motion to approve the attached resolutions for the state grant application for the new construction of Farmington High School.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Kathy?
The attached resolutions are required for the state grant application for reimbursement, which is due by June 30th, 2021, and the resolutions are attached.
Okay, any questions or discussion? Hearing none. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N14, I make a motion to approve the attached resolutions for the state grant application for the renovations of the Farmington Public Schools Central Office Administration.
Second.
Again, these are the attached resolutions required by the state grant and for reimbursement, which is due by June 30th.
Okay, any questions or discussion? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. And we will be going into executive
We'll
session.
go in executive session for pending
Pending
litigation.
And before we go, we will be departing with the rest of you. I will leave you your quote of the evening. Education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. Malcolm X. We are going to executive session.